Hi children, I hope you're well and I hope you have at least been outside for a little bit this afternoon to enjoy some of this spring sunshine. And I wondered if you had done lots of your pictures of your trees and what different animals did you include in your trees yesterday. So I'm back today. Today is Tuesday and it is the 7th of April and I've got our nature poem that I'm going to read to you. So here is a lovely big picture of a pheasant. Yeah, this bird is called a pheasant and you find them really in the countryside. You'd never see a pheasant in Bristol. They belong in the countryside. You can see the lovely beautiful sun there. And this poem is called, it doesn't have a name, it's a very short poem. So if you listen, sitting carefully, so make sure you can hear me and you can see me and I'll read the poem to you. You can see the picture there. Treading on the tail of the copper pheasant, the setting sun of spring. Very short little poem, but nice to see that beautiful picture. Okie dokie. So today we're going to read our second story, and it's kind of springy. I know that I've read it to you before, but this is my favourite story ever. It's called The Bog Baby, and it's written by Jean Wills and Gwen Millward, and I've read this story to many children over the years. And each time I read it, it's even more magical than the time before. The Bog Baby. So make sure you're sitting comfortably. And we've got a little activity for you to do afterwards. So you need to make sure you're listening really carefully so you'll be able to do that. The Bog Baby. Long ago, when we were little, me and Chrissy did something bad. We were going to Annie's house to play, but we didn't. We went fishing all by ourselves, which wasn't allowed. Chrissy said there was a magic pond in the bluebell wood. It was only ever there in spring. When it rained, it made a huge puddle in the dell. And pond creatures came. You could fish for newts, she said. I won't tell if you won't. So we went. We found the pond. It was squelchy round the edge and the bluebells squeaked under our boots. Beautiful. I think this is the time of year when the bluebells are all going to be starting to come up. We fished and we fished, but we didn't catch a newt. We caught something much better. We caught a bog baby. He was the size of a frog, only round and blue, and he had boggly eyes and a spiky tail. And I remember he had ears like a little mouse. He came swinging through the flower stalks and he jumped into water. And he floated up and down on his back and he sucked his toes. Oh, I'm going to turn the page. That's when I fished him out. He didn't struggle. He sat in my hand and he looked surprised. He was soft as a jelly, like he had no bones. And when we stroked him, he flapped his wings, and they were no bigger than daisy petals. They seemed too small for him to fly. Chrissy said he might be able to fly if we blew on his wings. We blew and we blew, but all we did was blow him onto the mud. He didn't try to escape. He just sat there with his paws on his eyes. We put him in a jam jar and we took him home and we hid him in the shed. He was our bog baby. He wasn't meant to be a secret. We wanted to show Mum, but we daren't. If we did, she would know that we didn't go to Annie's. We made our bog baby a beautiful home in a bucket with gravel and shells and clean water. And whenever he saw us, he jumped up and down and we picked him up and played with him. He was so ticklish. We fed him on cake crumbs. We loved our bog baby. Our friends loved him too. We sneaked him into school in a margarine tub when the teacher wasn't looking, and he played in the sandpit and the water tray. In the afternoon, he slept on his tub on a piece of damp cotton wool. And Daisy made him a collar and lead, and we took him for walks in the field, but once a crow nearly ate him. We scared him away just in time. We really did take care of our bog baby, but he got sick. He didn't jump up and down anymore, and he went pale, and his wings got droopy, and he wouldn't touch his cake crumbs we gave him, all sorts. He just spat them out. We wanted to ask Mum for help, but we daren't because of Annie. But the bog baby got thinner. He wouldn't walk on his lead. He hid under his shell, and he wouldn't come out no matter how much we loved him. Mum found us in the shed. Chrissy wouldn't say why we were crying. We'd promised not to tell, but I blabbed. But Mum wasn't angry, though. When she saw what was in the bucket, she smiled. She said she hadn't seen a bug baby since she was little. Please make him better, we cried. We do love him so much. I know, she said, but the bog baby is a wild thing. He isn't meant to eat cake. He doesn't belong here. He shouldn't walk on a lead or sleep in a tub. She picked him up, the bucket, and we followed her out. If we really loved the bog baby, we had to do what was best for him, no matter how much we loved him. That was real love, and that's why we let him go. Back where he belonged, living in the woods, playing in the pond, sleeping in the damp leaves, under the moon. We never saw him again, and I think he grew up and had babies of his own. Last spring, my daughter found the magic pond, and guess what she saw? Hundreds of bog babies swinging through the bluebells, catching flies, sucking their toes. And that's what she told me, and that's what I believe. I love that story because I love the message behind it, which is that as much as we really want to keep things, when we see them out in the wild, we have to make sure we leave them. So we shouldn't pick flowers because then they die. And we should leave things that are out there because that's their home, as we wouldn't want to be taken away from our home, would we? Right, so today what I would like you to do is I would like you to have a go at designing your own little bog baby. I know that it would be very hard. I wish I could take you to the river now and we could go and pretend to look for them, but we can't. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to draw a picture of your own bog baby. I'd like you to think about where you would find him, so where he'd like to live, or she, what their favourite food is, how many toes they have, what is their favourite flower, and what noise does he make? Does it croak, does it purr, or does it tweet? Okay, so you might need to go back and pause those bits so you find out all those things. So you could draw a picture of them in the middle of the page, and then you could have all the information around it, or you could draw a picture and then write sentences to say all that information underneath. So it could look a little bit, that's what some people's bog babies' drawings look like. And that's another person's there. And you can just imagine it how you would like it. That's one last picture of it. Okay, great. So have fun doing that, guys, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.